another early morning. Early morning and late nights are a big part of this deal, but another video with you guys. We just got back from doing some saltwater stuff here a little bit ago. I know you guys probably watch the socials with that stuff. Some of you said, why are you doing more videos with it? Because it's difficult, and honestly, like, you guys don't seem to watch the saltwater stuff, so I'd be interested to hear a comment below, you know, if you want to see more of that stuff, like the shenanigans we did with Joe Cermelli and Country Steve in Mexico. But the reality is it's really difficult to film that stuff. But the podcast, you guys seem to, maybe I'm missing something, but let me know. Other thing is Fall Brawl, Walleye Slam, starting up. Literally, by the time this video is up, it will be a couple days in. And we'll be putting stuff up still, maybe not quite as much, just because there's so much shenanigans that go on with that, people following it all around. But what we're going to show you today is early fall tactics. So it's kind of a unique time of year here because it's still warm, but these mornings are cool, you know, in the 30s for several days. And so really kind of throwing the kitchen sink at them. We're going to throw a kitchen sink at you, and we're going to get on Captain Chip Cartwright's boat again. So if you guys didn't see that video with us salmon fishing, a little podcast, check that out. But he moved his boat all the way from Lake Michigan, all the way to the central basin of Lake Erie, and we are going walleye fishing with him today. And kind of the unique thing is we're going to probably do a bunch of different stuff, I'm guessing. So he's kind of watching some of our stuff, and you know, lead core, jet divers, dipsy divers, crankbaits, just a little bit of everything. So honestly, don't know how this is going to turn out, but walleyes are going. Here we are showing.
Here we are, Captain Chip Cartwright, walking on the gunwale. He's a little old for that. But we also have somebody, you guys, if you pay really close attention, maybe watch the salmon podcast, right over here, Renee. Renee, do you want to tell them how you got on the podcast? I mean, you have a...
I'm the ball washer.
Yeah.
The dog ball washer.
Yeah.
Let me reiterate that.
So let's just be careful. If you want to be a peanut gallery in the back of a podcast, you may end up being a ball washer. And we've got our husband Andy, poor guy. He's also security for us.
Hello.
We are going to do some walleye fishing here on Lake Erie, which is nothing new, but we're going to do a little bit different. We don't even really know what we're going to do we?
We're experimenting today.
We are. We're mixing some of my small boat stuff with the big boat stuff here in the Tierra.
Little R&D today.
Things that's really different with big boards versus little boards is you notice, you know, my boards are always going to be at the water level and the line of attachment. So you can see here we've got this line, and Chip's got this kind of, you know, down, so not only we can get it lower there, but it's also going to help keep those lines closer to the water. If we didn't have this tied down, that line may be 4 or 5 feet off the water, and then our lines are 4 or 5 feet off the water, so our leads aren't going to be as accurate. So when it gets rougher, he probably is going to loosen this up here so it goes higher and doesn't catch in the waves. But when it's not, going to lower it down. So we've got 3 captains, 1 boat. So we're kind of mixing up some gear today. So we've got Chip stuff. I brought a few things. Andy brought a few things. You know I'm OCD. You've seen the videos, you've seen all the stuff. On my reels, no less than 3 places it says how many colors of lead core. Andy, he just does it from memory. Apparently they don't have Sharpies in Michigan or something. I don't know. Maybe the football team used them all for the cheating scandal. I don't know. So, you know, one of the differences is I'm using trees a lot, and we're using here in Chip's boat the Burt's Custom Tackle tubes. And the reason is we want all these rods kind of angled the same because we're not using the rod to be part of the mast. So you want these all to be the same length so you can basically read the rod tips. It makes it a lot easier. And then the tubes are nice because you can just slide those things down as we get a bite. And we'll show you kind of that process as we get going here. But having everything lined up makes a big difference for the efficiency and then also knowing when you got a bite.
All right, we got a fish going on our top rod here. See how much it's bent over? That's why we run all the rods the same. So now we can see that one's just dragging a little more. So we're gonna go and pop it off, and
So watch him pop it there. He's just gonna kind of do just a little jerk. Now we're gonna let it take time to clear around. So you don't want to start cranking that thing right away. You want to
just keep tension on it.
Keep tension, but let her feed back around. So there's a thin line between having, you know, slack in there and then not having enough tension, but you want it to snake around. Ooh, we got fish on everything going here. Oh yeah. We got a pretty nice one. Now the other thing we're doing, again, we truly are experimenting. With Chip, we never have dialed in things. We're always screwing around, trying new colors. We're running some spoons on lead core, we'll run some thunder sticks on lead core, and then we got some spoons on the diver. So I'd say 3 fish on 4 we're set is pretty good.
In this color, I think it was our hot salmon color. Uh-oh. I think he just got off.
Oh. It's one demerit for Chip.
He gone.
That's one demerit. Renee, bring us home. Renee.
Little head shaking, he gone.
Renee, bring us home because Chip is...
Professional fish reeler today.
He's affecting our... Well, actually, when Chip loses them, it makes way better entertainment for us. We'd love to see you go 1-0.
I lost the first fish, boy.
Yeah. So we got good problems right now. We've got 3 fish on and we're just trying to get lines in the water. So I guess you could say the experimentation stuff is working a little bit. And Renee's got a junior donkey. And guess what that's on? Look at what that's on. The old thunder stick. Oh my, they just crunched that sucker. And that's probably not a color I would put out, but it's got all the right stuff. It's got the blue and the orange. Thunder sticks for the win. So far we're just getting the line set. We don't really have a good indication, but spoons and thunder sticks, both on lead core and dipsies, are going, but we've got to go. We're gonna make Andy reel one in now. So you'll notice we got no rods out on Andy's side. That's a good thing. But the low diver had a bite, and the high diver didn't trip, but it's also that line is riding really high. Always a good indication. You better check that thing out. This one's tugging pretty good too, isn't it? Oh yeah, another chunky mama. You know, that's why when you get cold weather gear on, these fish just tend to be a bigger.
Oh, that's a nice one.
That's why I like that 9-foot handle on my Beckman, but we're gonna make do here because these fish are snapping, and you noticed what's on that is chewing up. You guys that watched our social media stuff, you saw I put that picture up. This is a new spoon, broke nose, and it's breaking their noses for sure.
Come on. Homeboy, make yourself useful, real efficient. Jeez, Pete's.
So here's what we're doing since I'm getting my chops busted. We're gonna up and over and let that thing go around. And you kind of watch that line and you can see we're free and clear. And that's all there is to it. So remember that line, that weed whipper line is, we're calling it, is the mass system. So once it pops out, we're free and clear, but we need to give it time to get up out and around. So.
You know, I'd have reeled it in, but I'm busy trying to dig out spoon colors that you say I have to have out. So I'm looking for stuff.
I would think I wouldn't have to tell you what spoon colors, but you know, you guys that spend all the time in the office,
well,
you know, some of us out here earning our stripes, you know what I mean?
I just got down here at like 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Now you're making me fish right away in the morning. Come on. Give me a little time to acclimate.
We got one on that? So one of the things when you're reeling with this lead core, in my opinion, is I don't like to have the rod as high. I don't want all that lead bouncing around all over the place. And this one now, he's starting to tug a little bit. Oh, He just come out too.
Did it really?
I think so.
So I felt mine give a head shake about halfway and it's gone.
Renee's gonna be 2-0. I mean, sometimes the girls just
So
gotta step up.
it wasn't just me. He lost one on lead core and spoon too. You know,
We may be
he's
we may be
chomping
wondering
on
why
me
I
here.
don't run lead core and spoons here.
we see. Even
Yeah, that's off.
even the master loses on it.
What's our counter at, Renee? So we're learning Renee also needs cheaters. Yeah, I've got mine right here.
Really?
Renee, no, Renee, I mean, it's a sandwich, Renee.
That's true. It holds batter, right?
Boom, little silver streak spoon and out in the net. Andy, why don't you help us out with that one, because we got another one coming in here. Look at these dipsy divers are no joke right now. This was our inside one, right? So you're
Yep.
running a roughly 6-foot lead on that.
Yep.
Show them what kind of spoon we got on that one. That one's a little chunkier.
That is a mini streak lollipop.
So let's talk about spoon size a little bit. So the last couple of days I've been running spoons, really doing well on the divers with them, and using the junior, which is actually the smaller one. Now this one's kind of like what we're gonna call steelhead size, or just right for walleyes in the fall. And that's about the same size of the bait that a lot of these fish are eating that you've seen us puke up and show us on social media. But change the spoon size as the day goes on, because it seems to really make a difference some days.
Yeah. Thanks, sir. Pull it forward a little bit. There you go.
So as you see here, these guys are busy setting, and it's kind of musical chairs. So we had a bunch of fish on the lead core. We're actually cleaned out on the starboard side, and what Chip's going to do is just move these down, let a little more line out. So just like moving inline boards, what we're doing is we're sliding those down the line. So the one that was the middle is now going to be outside. The one that caught the fish is now going to be on the inside, and we just kind of walk these things down. Super efficient. But the big deal is, you don't really generally want to mix leads a lot. Like on inline boards, you know, we may have 100 foot back on one, 50 on another. If you start stacking them like that with this, it can be Tangle City, because you just don't have enough pull out with the walleyes there that you're going to get the clearance on that. So you're going to want your leads to be generally somewhat close, unless you're really paying attention, and then you maybe pop one of the inside lines or the one that's longer.
That's what we're figuring out today, what we can get away with.
So you can see on that rod there, it's probably a small one or just swimming with. You can't necessarily say it's going to be just a small one, but that line angle is riding up there. So that diver hasn't tripped, which is not a bad thing. I like to keep them, you know, locked in there. You guys have seen our dipsy videos, and the reason is simple. If we had 4 or 5 fish going, which we already have on the boards, we can only reel so much at one time and not having those tangled together. So we like to kind of keep those where we manually release them unless that fish really, really is tugging. But we watch that line angle at the water go up, and that's when Captain Andy says, fish on. So we got what we call the chip pop. We kind of just do that right like that. Man, they got these, we got tight on these releases. I was gonna give Renee a hard time, but I think there we go. We got a little tight on these. So on the way out, Andy was asking me, because he's watched some of our videos, and says, how do you get them to release so easy? So, you know, there's no off time with fishing. Sitting there watching some football, and I get some new dipsy divers. Pop, pop, pop. I just take those releases in and out manually 1,000 times or more. Just in and out, and just wear that a little bit. And then they tend to snap in and out a little bit easier. And the only reason you need a new dipsy diver, because I've got some that are half as old as me, is when you have a boo-boo and then you lose it. You ever lost a dipsy diver, Chip?
One or twice. You know.
So we've got a longer leader on this one, so we may have to get creative with our netting.
I only went a little bit longer.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Told you we're experimenting. You know, after salmon fishing with the long leads, we're trying it. Oh boy, I think that's a fish.
Oh yeah. Ooh, look at that popping out. So we got a little, I call that Superman. Chip, I don't know what you call this spoon color, but we were definitely experimenting, as he said. You know, if you guys haven't watched it, go watch our salmon video, but we had 20-foot leads in some of our divers, and yes, it's a pain, but you know why we did it? Because we were catching more fish. So figured he'd put a little bit longer leads on the dipsy divers there in case we want to mix in some things. So our experience, you know, with spinners is we do need longer leads. Crankbait's kind of in the middle, and then spoons generally 6 to 8 feet or something like that. But leader length can definitely matter. Miss Renee is on another one. She doesn't have her cheaters though.
Right. So
I might snap you in. I don't want to take your Maverick glasses off here, but I might have to pop you in.
I know, I forgot my other sunglasses in my car at home.
Let's talk old people. Old people talk here.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 29, but
Yeah, that's true.
1 powers? This is stuff I didn't even know existed until a month ago.
1.25 now.
Oh, they make 1 1/4?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I probably need 1 1/4. I just haven't.
Every about
refused to look at
18
it.
months, you got to edge up a quarter.
Captain Chip says we got another one on.
Low diver.
Low diver, take it. Ooh, guess what? Same spoon again there, Lollipop. I've
Lollipoppers.
learned that today. Lollipop is the name, catching's the game, and out in the net. So as good as this bite has been, we've definitely got to keep tension because they are coming off in the boat. Ooh, Captain Andy is setting and informing here. You see our first line, you can see the difference, and that's why it's so important to use the same equipment, same length, same things, because how that's doubled down there, that's a little sniffer bite. And the nice thing is obviously we got a lot going on, but when you have that like that, where that is on, it's often best, as you see Chip here, he's gonna pop that out because it's gonna take amount of time to swing that around. And because we are experimenting and kind of doing some no-nos and running different length of lead cores, you know, on one side, which we normally don't do, we need an extra amount of time to get that around. Low diver. Andy says low diver. Why don't you take that, Andy? That's a whole lot of chaos, but we want chaos, don't we?
Absolutely.
Do you
It'd be
feel
no
like,
fun.
as the dock mom, do you feel like there's sometimes too much chaos? I mean, you are a ball washer, for God's sake, so I'm not going to take what you say too literally.
Oh, let's
Andy, can we get any
clarify.
clarification?
It's a dog grooming shop. This is a kid-friendly show, right?
It's really not. It's actually not. No. No, neighbor Mike, if neighbor Mike's watching, he says it's never kid-friendly, but maybe he's just, I don't know. So you really have to pay attention to doing this because when these things start popping out of the boards, all that kind of can weave together, and that's why we like these clips. You know, you guys that watch this always ask me, why do you not want these things to release? A good problem can become a real bad problem super fast.
Renee, get a sideways fish.
It's like Paul Wall sitting sideways. Look at you go. Okay, that was fishing ugly on the old thunderstick there, but he had an absolute face full of them. And you know, it looks easy right now because we're catching on just about everything, but the deal is this starts with paying attention, watching the graph, especially going down the lake at speed, because a lot of these fish that we're catching are pretty darn deep, and normally those are fish I probably wouldn't even target, but in this kind of early fall and the way that the temperature is, and there's basically a little thermocline break I know from being in my boat yesterday with a fish hawk, those fish deeper are just going, and normally they don't go as much. The biters are normally higher, but definitely not the case today.
I think I might have one on my high diver that rattled and rolled a little bit. Oh, there might be one on that outside board.
So one thing that
too.
we're kind of noticing here is some of these kind of orangish, reddish colors seem to be doing good, which is something probably hasn't been a real pattern here for a while, but long time ago, that was a real big pattern in the fall. Renee, do you want to go? You want to increase your batting average, Renee?
Sure, Ross. Why not?
When we need it in the boat, we give it to Renee here. We got the low diver. The divers have been really good, and you know that's not uncommon in this early fall. Even though the temperatures in the morning are very cool, the water's still pretty warm. These fish are down. They're chewing on that bait fish. We had a little gizzard shad popping up about yay big, kind of the size of a silver streak mini the other day. And again, that's why we're catching so many of these fish deeper. Same color again, lollipops for everybody. That little chunky monkey there. But again, really important, pay attention to the size of the spoons. Yesterday, couldn't catch nearly as many on the minis, which are a little bit bigger, kind of steelhead size. The juniors were the deal. Today, catching them on both. So we've got both divers going, and I can tell you one thing, from day to day, especially if you can't run as many lines, you know, some days I just put 1 or 2 divers down. But here's the deal. Sometimes the high divers work way better, and I don't know if it's the action or whatever it may be. Oh yeah, that's that broken nose again, which is what we're probably gonna give somebody that cuts us off, broken nose. But look at that, right in the mouth. But we don't have any time to rest because Andy's now gonna reel us in, use some of that muscle, and he's gonna get that high diver. But really pay attention. You know, there's a lot of days if you can only run a handful of rods and you're not catching them on a low setting, and for us a low setting is like a 1, 1.5, something like that, then switch that over to something like a 2.5 or a 3. So Andy is often our dock security. Are you feeling good there? Because I mean, we're
getting the burn.
Feel the burn.
Feel the burn.
Is there anything you'd like to add to this? You've watched some of the videos. Now being in one, I mean, is it more of a dumpster fire than you thought?
No, I'm pretty comfortable with it.
Solid fish here. Just.
One on your inside, Chip.
So you know, as you're setting lines like this, you see all this just constant catching. There's going to be not a lot of edits to this. It's pretty much boom, boom, boom. And when you're watching this, it's like, yeah, that's great. But honestly, the 2 things you really need to have is, you know, you need to have things set up in advance. The way your stuff is laid out, you need to have good communication, because all of a sudden you watch us catch 10 or 12 fish. Maybe if you're in your boat, you only catch 4 or 5, no offense, because you're not able to get things back as quick, you're not communicating, or you end up getting a tangle, and then that shuts the whole thing down. Getting the lines back in the water quickly really is the difference maker on how you catch 30 instead of 10. That was aggressive. That was aggressive. So here, Renee just popped that out. It was a little aggressive for me. But I mean, she's aggressive. I mean, she washes dog balls. So, yeah.
I'm gonna send you a video one day.
I feel like this just elevated. Anyhow, big thing is you're noticing on these, maybe or not, is we really got to wait as we pop these out and just control tension. You know, you've seen Chip a couple times, you've paying real close attention, reel a few times just to keep tension on that fish in case it's swimming with. But we need to make sure that those are all pulling out of the spread and then around. And that's going to make a big difference there, because if not, we don't have a fish anymore, we got a tangle.
I think I'm going to play a little while longer.
If you guys watch the same video, it really, in case you haven't picked up on things, if you watch some of the other videos that kind of the inside jokes work, CJ, little CJ, that's Chip's son, he was sitting down, we were busting his balls. Renee gets like 5 fish or something on, all of a sudden she's like, oh, I'm going to sit down, oh. And I'm like, you know?
Should I stand back up? Would that make you feel better?
I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, the damage is done. So we have a good combination. We got thunder sticks on lead core, we got spoons on lead core, we got spoons on dipsy divers, and they are all catching. We're in that kind of that little zone.
I'm close.
Chip is calling for the net. He's got a little junior donkey on here. That's a nice one. It's kind of aggressive. Here we go. Renee's over here. She did stand up, guys. She is up. We'll do a cutaway to that. Little broke nose, which is what she's gonna give me if I keep talking like that. Yeah, I know you guys are all color psychos. That's a new color, FYI, really good. Oh, you want a scooper? Look at this.
Ooh, that's
So
nice.
we got
one.
that blue colored one again.
Another line.
And, you know, a little things, you know, stuff happens out here when you catch this many fish, but we didn't let as long for this to clear around and you can see what happened. We grabbed that other line. So when in doubt, let it drag out. Thundersticks had to catch the chunkers. Look at that, the old double scooper. A thunderstick and a spoon. And this time the spoon was a little bigger. That's a salmon spoon.
This is
color.
our hot salmon color. I painted them up for walleyes.
I just want to say it here now, Chip, this may disappear today. You may not see this again, but it'll go to a good home.
I think that's a second bite on that one we've had.
Yeah, that's what we're catching. If you guys watched the salmon video, that was the deal. And nice chunky walleye there.
Sometimes they work for all kinds of fish. You never know. Got a nice little swath. No one's in our way. We're good.
So sometimes boss lady and producer dudes say that I just, you know, I assume you know things because I'm assuming you watched all of our videos because I hope you do. But Captain Andy actually is a watcher of some of the videos and he started running some of this segmented lead core on his boat and has had great success. So we're using 832 suffix line, which is really important because it's not like other lead cores. It's a much smaller diameter. So we're gonna get a couple extra feet per color, which is really a big deal because that means less line and then we can also attain, you know, greater depths. And we also don't have to have as big of a reel, especially when you're fishing some of that summertime stuff. But we're able to get these tiny little baits like the little spoons and the little thunder sticks down, you know, upwards of 40 feet, which is really important. So we have a whole video on that, on the setup of it and how we do it. And it really seems to make a difference with the way that we do our connections, our swivel and our backing. So we'll put a link on there so you can check that out. But Suffix 832, little lead core. Don't think it's just for summertime or a different time of the year because early fall, it's definitely not one to sleep on. So here we are, double down again. We got Andy and Chip on a fish on the lead core. We got one on a spoon, I think, and one on a thunder stick again. But you know, the thing is obviously we're catching some of these fish are really nice. You know, I know you guys are looking for a fall brawl or a walleye slam fish, and you know these aren't it right now. But it's also time of year that water is super warm, and we're in that column where they're eating those gizzard shad. So if you don't need to catch 40 fish, you know, like well, I guess we can get just shy of that, but if you don't need to catch a ton of fish, you know, change in the column, you know, go higher, go a little bit lower. We're doing what's catching. If you really wanted a big one, you probably need to switch things up a bit. Maybe put a bigger spoon on. Maybe we're gonna talk about putting a full-size thunder stick on. Bite quantity is gonna go way down, but your quality is probably gonna go up. So it all depends on what you're trying to do. But most time you guys watch the fall brawl. I have caught one fish in the teens early like this in October, but most of the time those bigger fish are caught towards the end. So right now we're just filling the freezer and having a good time. So you'll notice we've got Chip in here again. Renee is actually standing up. It's amazing, you know. Sit down one time, you know what they say. Chip, what do we call this thing? I have no idea what that is.
Cream confetti.
How do we keep track of these names? I have no idea. I usually just go at Fish USA and look on Fish USA's little board there because they carry about 40 different colors of silver streaks. Guess what we got here? It's Captain Andy's apparent secret favorite thunder stick. Silver and blue and orange. How could that not be good? I know the walleyes like it. So you can see right now we just had Renee's fish over here kind of going on this side. Now we've got Chip's fish kind of swinging this side. One little thing you can do,
now,
especially you small boat guys, is turn the boat. And you can get that fish to kind of swing around, and that way you either won't tangle on that line that's going out or you can set one out there So sometimes just using the old horsepower there to swing that around will really help out.
You're good, Andy. I got it over here. That's a nice one. I'll bring him, don't worry. Broken nose again.
Look at that.
Ouch. Ooh, one hook right in the lower jaw. Just how it's supposed to happen. Like that. Isn't there good too? All right, so we got our 5-color lead core out, but he popped the rubber band, so we're gonna once again put a new rubber band on. I half loop on there since I'm running a braid main line here. Half hitch that rubber band on there, then it cinches right down on there. So now your rubber band won't creep on the braid. Then we're gonna dig out our clip.
If it gets bigger, let me know.
Put the rubber band in there, so it helps us know when we have a small fish or something's going on. And we just pull the line in, clip it right on there, and out she goes. And we got another fish going. Look at here. Turn around. Look at this one bent over. Oh boy.
What do we got going on here, boss? I don't see a lot of cranking going down.
He's tugging, man. He's pulling out some line.
You got Tatanka or you got,
We're either in the barnyard real deep or,
I mean,
don't
today
know.
is the first day of the fall brawl. You know that, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's a walleye. I've never seen
Chip said if he caught a
walleye
17
fight like
pounder,
this.
he was going to buy me a beer tonight and possibly a hamburger, but no fries. So we may just go over there with the line, and help him out.
There
you know
he
what
is.
I mean?
No, we're in the barnyard.
Ooh.
See the,
Oh, yeah, look
see
at
the
that
tail
tail.
flipper back there?
Oh, yeah, that's a nice.
They go sheepy. All right, well, we're up to here is, you know, we started off pretty good, but our bite's starting to slow. We're trying to figure out if we need to turn around or what's going on. But I want to make sure that when we turn around and go back up, we can match our speed down where the lures are. So we're going to put out our fish hawk probe, put it down and see what we're doing in this direction. And then when I spin around, I'll be able to match that going up. Make sure we can still catch fish. So down she goes. Gonna drop her down about 30 foot. Kind of average where our fish have been coming from. All right, so we put our probe down. We're gonna check our speed going this direction. We're kind of quartering going downwind. But we got our probe down there at 30 foot down. It says we're going 2.3 miles an hour. It says 3.4 up top, so we got a little bit of current going on here today. So what we want to do is when we spin around, we're going to spin around and go back upwind, and we're going to use this to match our speed, make sure we're going and presenting our baits exactly the same, going in the opposite direction. Because you know, we got now it's half-mile-an-hour current, so it's kind of jumping around between half and 3/4 of a mile, 1 mile an hour for a current out here. So that'll help us get back on the fish.
So we had a little lull here, but it was basically we were trying to do a spin and we kind of got off our speed, and then all of a sudden those lead cores and dipsies both are not at the depth that we've been catching them at, and as soon as Chip got us straightened out, we got the fish hawk down and we're matching that now that we're going the opposite direction. 2 fish, one on a diver and one on the lead cord. We're really, especially because we're doing that kind of slow turn, we let Renee there put extra amount of time to pull that lead core out of the spread. And you can see a lot, we've had a lot of this today. As good as this bite has been, I mean, we're just absolutely raking these things. We really haven't got all the rods in. The lures are coming out. And so a little bit of slack in there is a bad deal. So that's guys that stop and start reeling. Don't do that, you'll lose the fish. But slack is not your friend even on a good bite. Thunder from down under, getting the double. That plug has been pretty good for us. Holy moly. If he'd have fought that hard, Renee probably would have lost it. But so here we are, you know, we spend thousands of hours fishing and doing and all our gear prep and everything. And we don't even know what is what. So Captain Chip, if we can get in here, has a hole, because he has a vinyl cutter, you know. He cuts those things. So we're guessing a little bit of what is what. The OCD is not strong with this one. I want to hear this. Yeah, go ahead.
So when I was pulling them up, I had 6 reels that were unused. 3 were brand new, and 3 were older. So the condition of the reel is kind of the way I was going off of what.
Oh, okay, so we're looking at what has the most scratches to determine what the counter is, but Chip now, I mean, these numbers are going to screw you up. I mean.
No, but I'm used to low tech, no tech.
I see that. I do remember someone asking me about electronics, and it's all starting to become clear. Look at that. Here we are, last fish of the day coming in, and we have got Renee. If you didn't notice, she was the one behind the scenes on the dock, kind of the peanut gallery, if you will, that admitted that she's a ball washer, and apparently I'm supposed to bring in that it's a dog ball washer. But we've had a crazy good day with Chip. This one is on a Deep Junior Thundersticks on lead core, but in case you weren't paying attention here, the Silver Streak Juniors and Minis were straight fire. How about that little donkey to end our day? As we get in there, we've been doing a lot of saltwater stuff. We've been doing some salmon stuff, a lot of traveling around. Now we're gonna go quiet for a little bit. As you know, the fall brawls and things like that are in full swing, and we've got clients and we'll be doing that stuff just about every day. So make sure you like, subscribe, follow us, the podcast. We've got a couple really good podcasts that I'm proud of that are coming out. Big water fishing, that's what we're doing.